Hey humans, how's it going? Susan Ruth here. Thanks for listening to another episode of Hey Human Podcast. Happy 8th birthday to Hey Human on July 16th. Thank you for being a part of this extraordinary journey that has flown by, and thank you to the absolutely incredible guests who have been on the show. Here we are at episode 415, and my guest is Georges Tomb. Georges is a Lebanon-born, award-winning composer and concert pianist. He wrote his first composition at 3 years old. He was raised in a deeply musical family, and it set the stage, no pun intended, for a meteoric rise to international stardom. He's also using his talents for a deep purpose and has gifted various compositions to philanthropic events worldwide. He's the kindest man. It was really lovely to talk with him, just a real bright light. And there's no doubt that he will be a household name around the world in no time. Really, really a fun conversation. General stuff, I'm on Patreon at Susan Ruthism. You can check out heyhumanpodcast.com for links and to learn more about my guests in the show. Check out susanruth.com to learn more about me and my other artistic endeavors. Follow Susan Ruthism and Hey Human Podcast on social media. Find my albums. I, too, am a musician, though not even close to Georges. But, I do my best to keep up. You can find my music on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, wherever you get your music. Rate, review, and subscribe to Hey Human Podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you again for 8 years and counting. Be well, be kind, be love. Here we go. Georges Tomb, welcome to Hey Human.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, lovely to have you all the way from Paris. Are you jet setting these days, going everywhere?
Actually, I was in New York 2 weeks ago, and it always takes me like 3 to 4 days to get rid of the jet lag.
I read someplace that if you wear sunglasses the whole day after you arrive when you're jet lagging, that it helps, but then of course it makes you look like a diva. But I think it's supposed to help because it tricks your brain.
Oh yeah, I've never tried that. I mean, I would love to try it. I use melatonin a lot to try to regulate my sleep.
Does it help?
It helps.
Yeah,
it helps. Yeah, but I think it always takes like 2 to 3 days to just get used to the new time zone.
When you're dreaming, do you dream with a musical background?
I mean, that's why I have lack of sleep, whether there's jet lag or not. I have lack of sleep because music doesn't stop. You know what I mean? So music always hits my head, even when I'm sleeping.
Although I suppose you can wake up from a dream and have an entire thing composed.
Yeah. Like, for example, now I'm scoring a movie that I need to deliver in 2 weeks, which is Bugatti. I'll tell you about it later on. But I get to bed and I was like, oh, I forgot to add this idea. And then I go back to writing. Then I go back to bed and I was like, oh, this is a nice musical line. Then I go back to, so it's just, when I have a deadline, I always have a lack of sleep because the best ideas always hit my head last second. I'm a procrastinator.
Me too. I get that. I also think that the more tired you get, the less chance your active brain can regulate and step in and say, oh, no, that's not good. Or the judgy part of our brain goes away.
Exactly.
Because we're so tired. We don't have the wherewithal to beat it back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, let's get into you. I start these all the time with the same thing. I want to know where you were raised and what shaped you to the human you are now.
I was raised in Beirut, Lebanon. I come from a family of well-established artists, including my father, my grandfather, my grandmother, and my aunties. My dad is a composer and pianist himself, and he taught me music. He taught me how to play piano, how to write music. He was my first musical teacher. So growing up in Lebanon was a great childhood for me. And then after that, I left to Europe and I studied music there in Vienna with Conrad Pope and Christopher Young. Then after that, I went to LA and I started discovering this world of movies and cinema and how to write music for movies. It was always my dream. Then I went back to Europe and I started writing music for ballet. And since then, I'm just traveling the world writing music for different genres, different projects.
Do you feel you love what you do, which is great, but as a kid, it requires so many hours of practice to get to the level that you have now achieved? And I'm sure, you keep improving all the time. That's just the nature of the beast. But when you're a little kid, did you feel at all like, I don't want to practice today, I just want to go be a kid?
I hated it, Susan. Like, my mom used to force me every day. No. You did only an hour today. You have to do 3. I was like, no, I'm bored. Like, I used to hate classical piano when it's forced. And I used to miss it when it's not forced. But I am very grateful to what my family obliged me to do, because now I understand the value of that, because all these time on the piano, rehearsing and practicing every day, I know their value today. Even now I practice every day just to keep the technique that I have, because I'm composing, but at the same time I'm playing with the orchestra, so I have to maintain a certain level of technique on the piano.
Isn't there that famous saying, I don't know if it was Yo-Yo Ma, somebody said, if I don't practice for a day, no one notices. If I don't practice for 2 days, my wife notices. If I don't practice for 3 days, the world notices.
I think that's Yo-Yo Ma, the cellist, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Absolutely. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, as a pianist, my fingers are, they can cheat on me any day if I stop practicing. Of course, that's why piano for me is like drinking water every day. I have to visit the piano every day. Everywhere, anywhere I am, I have a piano.
Yeah.
Whether it's in a hotel, whether I rent an apartment with a piano, whether it's at home, south of France, Beirut, LA, New York, anytime, anywhere I need a piano, has to be one. Anytime I need a piano, I have to have one. At night I have a piano. I use the electric one because, with a headphone, so I don't bother people and neighbors.
Yeah, of all the instruments to take when you're a traveling musician, the piano is the most...
Not the great. Exactly.
The most awkward one you could have ever picked. Why not the violin?
Yeah. The violin also is easy to take, but it's also annoying at night.
Oh, I guess that's true, especially if you're not great at it. Tell me, as a kid, as you are learning your craft and developing your artistry, did you start seeing music everywhere? The movement of the trees and kids playing. You grew up in a place that there's a lot of intense things happening for a child to witness. How did that all interplay with itself?
Like, I didn't really need to leave the house to feel the music, because at home, my dad is playing music all day long. My aunties are visiting us, singing with my dad. He composed their albums. My sisters sing all day long. So my home in Lebanon was purely musical, and art all over the place, because my grandfather, he's a painter. And my grandma, she's a singer. So anywhere I am, and I had twice a week classes, conservatory, musical theory, harmony, composition, piano. The music was always there. So imagine leaving a piano class and Tchaikovsky's in my head. I'm walking, Tchaikovsky's music is still in my head. And yeah, obviously the scenery around me is all musical. And that's how I get inspired.
Was it hard to find your own voice amongst all these other artists in your family, to stand out and to be yourself?
No, actually, I was very supported by my family. It wasn't easy for me to open doors abroad. It wasn't easy, but at the same time, it was easy. So the beginning was slow, but then I felt like my career took off officially in Europe after my first concert in Italy, the Orchestra Filarmonica Italiana and the San Remo Symphony. After these 2 concerts, I felt my career took off officially. And it gets harder, but at the same time, it gets easier when it comes to other conductors hearing about your work, other film directors hearing about your work. So it's just, it's like a snowball that keeps growing while going, the road.
I've always wondered this with composers and the symphonies. How is that interplay working? For a layman like myself, I don't really understand the connection, maybe the woven connection between each instrument and each player and the composer. What is that relationship?
I think you're talking about the conductor, probably. No?
I meant, yeah, conductor, not composer. I think in my mind, I'm picturing Mozart conducting, thinking, oh yeah, the composer and the conductor.
Oh, Mozart. I mean, I can conduct, but I don't have this passion to do it. I prefer playing, or I prefer just like watching the orchestra playing my music. So the conductor follows what the composer wrote on the score. The composer can conduct if he's a conductor, or he has this passion to do it. But I mean, the conductor more give the speed for the orchestra, the forte, piano, play loud, play quiet. His role is very important to transmit the message that the composer wrote on a score to the orchestra and the audience is not easy. He gives the character of the piece, and sometimes the conductor improve the whatever is written on paper in his style, in his own style. I mean, in my case, I play mostly piano. I am the lead or solo pianist in the orchestra, and I play with the orchestra. Sometimes I give the piano main role in the piece. Sometimes I don't give the piano anything. Well, it all depends on whatever I'm hearing. But the conductor's job is important in a piece, in an orchestral piece.
When did you know yourself that you were special, that you had something beyond? I know that's a weird question to ask. It's for ego and all that, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think for an artist, there's a time in your life when you say, oh, wow, I'm different.
I think when the conductor starting asking me for commissioned work with A-class orchestras in many countries, and I thought, okay, there's something different there. There's something probably good that people are liking, or these conductors they're liking. But what's nice about this industry, the more you learn, as I had an interview last night and I mentioned that, the more you learn music, the more I like literally I study Beethoven scores and Mozart, I feel very negligible, and I like that because this process makes you feel humble, and it makes you always look forward to learning more. The music is a huge ocean, as I mentioned last night, and I always want to feel that way to just keep grounded and ready to learn more because it's not an industry where you know everything and you can reach a point where you can say yeah I know everything about music. No, you never know anything about music, you know what I mean? You never know everything about music. You'll always be that student that is learning and learning and learning.
Yeah, I suppose if you reach a moment where you feel you've figured it all out, it will lose all joy.
Exactly. You'd have nothing to look forward to and to learn and to improve in your music and to influence people more, because if all your music is the same level, same effect, so there's no future. See, there's a piano now playing somewhere.
Yeah. So as music continues to inspire and surprise you, how does that reflect back on yourself? What are you surprised about yourself as you keep going?
I think because I study music a lot of other classical composers and I learn different techniques and I follow my inspiration and my vision in writing music, and I get some inspiration of orchestration about these composers. Every time I have a recording with the orchestra, whether it's Budapest, London, let's say, that I will have soon a collaboration with. So in every recording, I learned that, okay, I improved on the cello section. I improved on the string section. Okay, no, the brass section, I should have maybe written something better here. So every time I have a recording session with the orchestra, I learn something. Either that I improved somewhere or maybe that I need to improve and learn. Then after every recording session, I go in my cage and I started learning how should I improve this section.
When you sit down to compose for a film, do you kind of keep that shut off at first and just read through the script? Or as you're reading it, does it start to swirl around you musically?
Phase number one, I have to meet the writer and the director. And we have to click, no matter what. We have to click and feel that we can create magic together. Number two, I read the script. And phase number two. Phase number three, I start building themes on the script. Different scenes I share with the director and writer, and I have to feel that they like it. I have to feel that they love it. Phase number 4, once they finish filming, they send me the footage, and I start using these themes that I composed on that script on different scenes, and I start writing them on different scenes. And then once I put the themes on the scenes, then I started orchestrating it for the orchestra. And that's my favorite part. Executing this, on paper, and then executing it in real life, which is going to Budapest or wherever I need to go to record with any orchestra. That's obviously the best part.
Are you like a Mozart in that you hear all the different instrumentation in your head, or are you more where you sit down with, say, a computer and you play around with different modalities that way?
I'm not a tech guy, so I've never used any computer program for music, and I prefer to keep it that way because that way I can hear the music in my head. I have an absolute ear. I mean, absolute ear is a different thing. It helps a lot. It bothers also on another angle on daily life. Yeah, a lot. Like
yes,
yeah. But at the same time, I hear everything in my head, so I know even visually what I wrote. And if there's a mistake in the orchestra, I can tell what section is playing what and what's the mistake, what they're playing, what should be the replacement. So yeah, this is a thing that I probably got from my father, and yeah, I'm grateful to that. Honestly, this is a talent that my dad has, and he helped me push it. He helped me hear music that I'm writing in my head.
I once went to a Dave Matthews concert, and the violin player was out of tune, and I had to leave. It was like nails on a chalkboard.
Annoying, right? Yeah. I mean, not only that, having an absolute ear means if you listen to sometimes a spoon falling on the ground, there's a musical note, what musical note is, or even if an ambulance passing by, I can know the notes that are playing, dee-da, dee-da, dee-da. So in my head, the musical notes are playing. It's a bit annoying also having an absolute ear.
This is a weird question, but have you ever, because I'm fascinated by neuroscience, have you ever had your brain scanned while you're playing piano?
Never.
I bet that would be really interesting.
Yeah, but how can you do that? I have to be at the hospital, right? With a piano there.
Yeah, they would just have a piano there and hook you up. But I think that would be really fascinating.
Contaminated piano, right?
Well, I mean, if it's just stickers on your brain watching it move.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
I see my brain goes to, it would be neat to have that scan and watch how it plays out and then paint a painting of what your brain looks like while you're playing music.
Oh, well, that's an interesting idea. Let's do it in LA, maybe. That
would be very cool.
Yeah.
Tell me about Lebanon. Tell me what it was like growing up with the influence of sounds and sights and the beauty and the architecture is stunning. Tell me about that.
You've been to Beirut before?
I've seen pictures. I haven't been yet.
Beirut is amazing. It looks like Monte Carlo, the trees, the nature, the sea, the mountains kissing the sea. We have a say in Lebanon, is saying it could literally snow in the mountains. You can go ski at the same day. You can go and swim. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful place. It just had different political problems all over the years, but Beirut always stood up for all the problems, and Beirut really inspired. And the first orchestra that I ever collaborated with was the Lebanese Philharmonic Orchestra, and I'm grateful to that city because with whatever capacities they have and capabilities, they supported me, all over the world also, and in Lebanon and the Lebanese diaspora. So yeah, I think growing up in Lebanon was a great childhood. And you are, when I travel to Europe, I speak different languages. I have different musical backgrounds. So if I have an Indian movie asking me to write the music for, I mean, it's quite not easier for me, but because I have the Oriental music in my head, even if I'm a classical composer, I can literally use that background that I have somewhere and write for other genres. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's nice to be living in a country that is not in Europe, but having the musical style that is classical and European. You get to win both cultures.
How many countries have you now toured to as a performer?
I had many European cities. The States, I had New York once, which is Carnegie Hall, and Los Angeles, which is 4 times. I think, yeah, 4 times in LA with the LA Orchestra. We are conducted by Joanna Medawar Nashev and LAJMNS Orchestra. And I had, in the States, that was it.
You're about to come and really make your mark in the United States.
Exactly. Hopefully,
That's exciting.
Yeah, but I'm scoring movies in Hollywood now. It's been a few years.
That's where I live.
In LA.
Yeah, I live in Santa Monica by the water.
I love Santa Monica.
Yeah, it's
really
great.
nice.
I love it.
So you live by the pier? You live by the pier?
Yeah, I live up from that. It's about a half a mile from that pier.
Okay. I love Santa Monica. I have to be in a city that is by the ocean or by the sea or by... Yeah, I cannot live in a city where I feel frustrated with buildings and, the ocean gives me eternity, endless vision, it makes me feel inspired.
Same. And dogs, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm scoring a cartoon next year about dogs.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
That's great. So I listened to I have not seen the whole of the documentary enough. It looks fantastic. Was that the very first movie that you scored, or?
Yeah. It's an Australian production written and directed by Daisy Gideon. She's Australian Lebanese. And it was about the revolution, the explosion of Lebanon. And yeah, we recorded the music back then with the Kiev Philharmonic Orchestra. I recall we were the last soundtrack that this orchestra recorded with. It was just before the war. No, a year before the war. Yeah, exactly. It was the last big soundtrack that Kiev recorded. And sadly, now there's war. And it's really sad how this world is shifting to wars and problems. And yeah, I hope, music invades more spaces.
Yeah, I hope that too. I'm in agreement with you on that one. Oh, what's the plan? But so you're going to keep doing more of the scoring of film. Do you prefer that over writing for orchestration for live music?
Both. I love to perform. I love to write music for ballet, as I'm doing now. I love to score movies, write music for pop songs, pop singers, classical singers. That's what I love about my job. I have a big variety of many options I can choose. Like even a week ago, I got an option to score a painting in a museum in London, which is amazing. I got that 2 years ago, but it didn't work. But now I think it's gonna work. And it's nice, like as you're visiting a museum, you see a headphone next to a big painting, and you just put the headphones, and and you just start listening to music and contemplating this painting. And it's a nice feeling to feel that the music is linked to the painting. So what I love about my industry or my job is or my passion, that it gives me several ways to use this music, or to create this music.
I love that. You did Pinocchio, and do you have big plans for more ballet coming up? Do you have stuff on the agenda?
Yes, exactly. I have another project, another ballet. Pinocchio is taking off next fall because 2024 is the 140th anniversary of the Italian novel that Carlo Collodi wrote. And then we're doing Picasso, the painter, because this year is the 50th anniversary of his death. So they're doing like a ballet on his life, featuring his paintings and stuff. And it's really nice, because the ballet, the only way of communication on stage is the music. It's not an easy task. It's way harder than writing a music for a movie, because the music in a movie is the background in a way. But the music in a ballet is main. Even the communication between the dancers is the music, Yeah, it's just a different direction, but I love it. Seeing those dancers on stage and the orchestra live playing your music is really a great feeling.
Absolutely. And to watch bodies become music is a really cool thing. I love going to the ballet. It's stunning.
Yeah, Tchaikovsky and the Nutcrackers. Tchaikovsky, who wrote Nutcrackers and Swan Lake, I mean, these two ballets are my absolute favorite, and I always dream to have a project where I'm going to write the music for, and it was Pinocchio, and I really hope that people will love it.
Yeah, well, I think that they are loving it, are they not? Yes, absolutely. Is it hard to, as you move through your daily life, when you're just going through life as a normal, quote unquote, person, not performing, not practicing, not composing, but just living your life, is it hard to assimilate amongst the masses, if you will? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, this is sort of another ego question.
Yeah, when you are, no, yeah. I mean, actually, I love meeting new mindsets and new people. I mean, I love to meet new persons every day, new entities, new visions, it inspires me to see different kind of people, how they think, what kind of music they hear. I like to discover new music through new people. But being stuck at home writing music, at the end of the day, you have to go out, and we say in French, défoulement, which means you just have to. Sometimes I go crazy outside. People think I'm crazy with my friends. I just scream, I just dance. I don't care. I just need to breathe. Because orchestrating on paper is such a stressful task. Mm-hmm. It's pure calculations. Imagine next week I have a recording with the Budapest Orchestra for the Bugatti movie, and there's 70 musicians that are going to play my music that is still on paper now, which is very stressful. So the amount of stress with the deadline that we have in this industry is really tough. So when I go out and I meet people, I just go mad. I just, I don't want to talk about music. I don't want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just my way of forgetting that I'm a musician.
Music is mathematics.
Yeah, pure.
So as you're building your compositions, is it one of those things where, as in maths, that you can tell when the equation isn't quite lining up, and then you have to go back and recalibrate everything, or does it really flow in real time forward?
Depends. Sometimes I change the whole concept. Sometimes I feel the rhythm is, when you write rhythmic lines, it's pure mathematic, pure math. But sometimes I change the whole concept. Sometimes I just change an instrument, But it's a whole thing of creating and writing and orchestrating, because as you know, the orchestra is not playing, all the musicians, they're not playing the same thing. That's the magic of orchestration, is knowing what to write to who, and when should they play, when should they not. It's not easy. It's not easy, the task of orchestration. Composing is not easy. Coming up with new themes, that's a gift, having to think that I need a timeless theme that will just hit the audience, and I want them to leave the concert hall, the room, the theater, with this music in their head. That's not an easy task. Also, to sign a theme in my head and saying that's it, But orchestration is why you think this music is huge. That's why John Williams is the best. For me, is the best orchestrator on the planet.
I was just about to bring him up.
Alive, I have to say, alive. He's the best alive orchestrator on the planet, because you feel with his music that it's huge. It's like an army all together. You feel there's a big weight in his music. As if you feel it's supported, and this support is the orchestration.
I was wondering if you studied the way you studied the classical music, if you studied composers of film as well. And of course you do, but John Williams was the first one that popped in my head. Danny Elfman also is really interesting.
I love Danny Elfman as well.
Yeah.
He's a great composer. Ennio Morricone, Nino Rota, James Horner, Johann Johansson. I love Hans Zimmer as well. James Newton Howard, back in time. Howard Shore. Scott Bradley, Henry Mancini. I have every composer in Hollywood, they have their touch of magic.
They have a really cool thing here at the Hollywood Bowl where they'll show a film and the
orchestra plays live. That's my dream now.
I've gone to Back to the Future and I've gone to Black Panther and seen those, and it's really extraordinary.
Oh, nice. Wow. I attended one of the concerts a few years back with John Williams, conducted by Gustavo Dudamel. They played Star Wars. It was amazing.
I wish I had gone to that.
Space Odyssey as well.
Do you have a favorite, which is, I know, a question you probably get asked a bazillion times, so I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you have a favorite orchestra that, not for you to write for, but just if you were to go out for a night and enjoy?
I mean, I have orchestra that I'm targeting someday to work with, hopefully Tokyo Philharmonic, Vienna Philharmonic, Berlin Philharmonic, New York Philharmonic, what else? Santa Cecilia. Yeah, I mean, those orchestras are among the best in the world. I would love to work with them someday, of course.
Yeah, well, it's my hope that music continues to heal the world. So I appreciate that you're giving your gifts that way.
Thank you, Susan.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, I hope music inspires people to be more hopeful in a world where we need more good people around and better vibes and good energy.
Any suggestions to young people that might be listening who want to follow your lead?
They should study as much scores as possible for other composers. That's where they know where their direction is in the orchestration or even composition. And not just think that, I am gifted, I have music in my head, I'm just going to write. No, they have to study orchestration and study other composers' scores. That's how they get to a better and better and better level every day.
Mm-hmm. I know the piano is your craft, but do you have other instruments that you enjoy playing?
The only instrument that I play professionally is the piano.
Yeah.
Other than that, I enjoy listening to other instruments. Yeah, like I like the solo cello. I like solo trumpet with the orchestra. But to play, no, I'm a pianist.
Yeah. Enjoy your stay in Paris. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you for this beautiful discussion, if I may call it. And I hope to meet you soon in Santa Monica.
Yeah, definitely. Let people know how they best might follow your work.
I mean, I have a website, George with an STOMB.com, and I have Instagram, same thing, George with an STOMB. They can listen to my music on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel, but they can follow me on Instagram to know my updates, where I am, if they want to attend my concerts and stuff.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you. And I'll put links on heyhumanpodcast.com for everyone to go to. That's easy, so they can find it all in one place as well.
Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you.
Yeah, I wish you much success and also success in the Budapest, getting that all done as well.
Thank you so much. I'll be sending you the music afterwards.
Oh, perfect. Wonderful. Thank you for listening, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Susan.
Rate, review, and subscribe to Hey Human Podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks. Bye.